This is your video lesson for section 2.4, Solving Equations. This is going to be an investigation type video, so although I will come in at checkpoints with you, a lot of it will be done based on your own prior knowledge and observations that you're making. And keep in mind, you will actually have to do these because I'm not going to show you every single answer. Like I said, I'll just kind of be coming in at checkpoints to make sure you're on the right track. At this time, go ahead and pause the video and annotate your learning targets. So those are your I can statements up top here. And then pay attention to your correlating learning task and take a look at those vocabulary words. Okay, so of note here are your correlating learning task. Assignment 4, when you're done with this lesson and you do assignment 4, you should completely start and finish assignment 4. And then Spiral Review 3 will also be assigned in lesson 2.5. So you can just continue to work on Spiral Review 3. So this one should be finished afterwards, and this one should just be continued. All right, and then of course you have your vocabulary words over here that you already took a look at. So the first thing that you're going to be asked to do is define the word solution. So if you'll pause the video, flip back into your notes in this packet and find the definition of solution and then fill it in here. Okay, so looking at number 2, the set of numbers here contains possible solutions to the following equations. So we have 3 different equations provided, and we want to determine which of these numbers are solutions to these equations. And we have a table set up here to help us organize our information. So we're going to take each of the possible solutions and fill them in down here along the side. So we have 1/2, 3, 6, 17, 0, and 11. And what we're going to do is we're going to essentially use substitution or plug in each of these possible x values to each of the given equations. We want to see if we end up with a true statement or not. If this variable or this value for the variable plugged in keeps it equal, keeps the equation equal or a true statement, we know that it is a solution. And if for some reason we end up with a false statement, it does not keep the 2 sides of the equation equal, then we know it cannot be a solution to the equation. So, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys investigate this, and then I'll come back in with you as a little checkpoint. So go ahead and pause the video and go ahead and try as many of these as you possibly can. Okay, just as a little checkpoint here. So for example, if you're using 1/2, over here you're taking the equation 7 times x minus 10 equals 3 times x plus 14, and you're actually taking the value for the variable they've asked you to plug in and you're substituting it in. And then you're simplifying. So you're going to use order of operations to simplify both sides of the equation. So 1/2 of 7 is 3.5. And then if I subtract 10 from that, I get a negative 6.5. Okay, let's see if that stays equal over here. So 3 times 1/2 is 1.5 plus 14 gives me 15.5. So the question is, did this value substituted in for the variable keep my 2 sides of my equation equal? And clearly, those are not equal. So is 1/2 a solution? I'm going to say no here. All right. Like I said, I'm just going to kind of lead you through a few of them just as little checkpoints. So let's say that we plugged in the 6 here on this one. So we have 9 times the variable plus 5 equals 4 times the variable plus 2 plus 5 times the variable. In this case, my input variable is 6. So everywhere I see the x, I'm plugging in that 6. And I end up with 54 plus 5, which is 59. So I want to see if this other side is going to equal 59. So I have 8 and 4 is 48. And I'm getting 78 here on this side. So again, I'm seeing that these are not equivalent, and so 6 would not be a solution to that variable. All right, again, like I said, I'm just kind of jumping around with you a little bit. We'll do one over here. Let's go ahead and try the 0. So we have 3 times 0 minus 12 equals 3. And then I'm going to input my variable there again, plus 1 minus 15. The variable is 0. And I'm simplifying. So I end up with negative 12 here. And 3 minus 15 here, which is negative 12. And so in this case, 0 as the input variable does seem to keep these equivalent. Both sides of my equation are equivalent, so this is a solution to that equation. 0 is a solution to this equation given to us. Okay, and go ahead and proceed as necessary, depending on if you were able to get all of these done previous to seeing an example worked out. Again, I'm not going to be giving you every single answer here because it's about knowing how to get there and not necessarily being led through every single thing. All right, number 3, how did you approach the problems above, and is there another way to approach them? So guys, whenever you're answering open-ended questions like this, we expect more than, those middle school answers that were maybe appropriate before. So what you want to make sure you're not only wording your answers in complete thoughts, but you're also doing your best to make mathematical connections to your premise or to whatever stance you're taking. You need to try to bring in mathematical connections, maybe pre-knowledge or things that you've observed here within this lesson itself, but there needs to be full, complete thoughts as well as explaining the why and the how of it to take it to that next level for a high school math class. All right, number 4, what do you notice about the problems above and what do you wonder? Again, we need some good, thorough observations here with mathematical connections. Try to answer the how and the why and not just the what. When you're ready, go and pause the video, do number 3 and 4. All right, an equation has no solution if there is no value of the variable that will create a true mathematical statement. An equation has infinite solutions if there are an unlimited number of values of the variable that will create a true statement. So here we have Mary, Laura, and Carrie. They solved the following 3 equations as shown. Identify each of the equations as having either one solution, no solution, or infinite solutions. I'll pause the video while you give this a try. Okay, so as you can see, Mary solved here, and she ended up with this 2 equals 2 in a regular solution. She was not checking the answer, she was solving it itself, and she ended up with 2 equals 2, which is a true statement. So that means that there are infinitely many solutions. All right, Laura ended up with one solution, x equals negative 11/15. So that tells you that there is just one solution here, and it is negative 11/15. Here, Carrie solved, she did not check her answer, she solved it, and she ended up with 6 equals 17. Notice her variables canceled. And so this is a false statement. So whenever you're solving and you get a false statement, that's when you know it is no solution. All right, anything that I say or verbalize that you did not already know, you're welcome to make little notes of those things. Rewind the video, rewatch it if you need to. Number 6 says, take a look at the third step in each problem. What conclusion can you draw? So when you're ready, you're going to pause the video and you're going to answer this in complete thoughts, making mathematical connections and drawing on not just the what, but the how and the why. Number 7 asks you to solve each of these equations. And then number 8 asks you how many solutions does the first problem in the table above have and justify your answer. So when you're ready, go ahead and pause the video and try 7 and 8. Okay, if needed, pause the video, check your solutions with mine, and then adjust your answer to number 8 if needed. Number 9 says, which of the following equations has no solution and which one has real numbers or infinitely many solutions? Explain your reasoning. So go ahead and try to figure out which one is which, and then make sure to explain your reasoning with some thoughts jotted down here. Remember to make those mathematical connections and answer the how and the why, not just the what. Number 10 says, using the terms coefficient and constant term, explain how you can tell the number of solutions any equation will have. So this might require you to take a moment and refresh your memory on these terms. Maybe even look up some examples of what a coefficient is or a constant term is if you have forgotten since previous years in math. Task 2. In your groups, discuss each question and come to a consensus about each prompt. So since you are unable to discuss here, you might consider reaching out to somebody in your class and discussing it, or just trying to jot down your thoughts here as well. And it's important to note that from this point forward, this is a completely investigative resource. So at this point, you should be able to move through the rest of this section 2.4 and read and answer the rest of the questions on your own. Keep in mind, task 3 is very open-ended, so there might be some trial and error there. You might maybe need a scrap piece of paper or something like that to attach to this, and that is okay. Feel free to do that. And then 16 through 19, you're creating your own equations. So those are going to look very different than equations of your peers. So again, feel free to reach out to a classmate or something if you want to and compare answers, but you should not necessarily have the exact same answers as your classmates. In fact, if you did, that would kind of raise a red flag here. And keep that in mind too, that when we're providing these answer keys for you on the course calendar, when you're expected to create your own equation, the first indication that you did not attempt that on your own is that if we see the exact same equation written down as what was on our answer key provided for possible answers. So guys, you're really going to have to kind of go through that challenging process here and a little bit of productive struggle on the rest of this investigation. So when you're ready, go ahead and end the video and complete this investigation. And then don't forget to revisit your learning task listed up here at the beginning, where you are going to finish assignment 4 and continue on spiral review number 3.